let's go through the Big East a little bit here, and I'm gonna start us off with Alex Caravan. I feel like we have to start on Alex Caravan. He's all-time borderline first-round guy in the Big East. He's since he was a freshman, it feels like we've talked about him. If he comes out this year, he's probably a borderline first-round pick, and he keeps going back to UConn, keeps having success there. Um, he's a lot like I was saying with DeVries just a minute ago. Of there's a limit on the ceiling that you're going to get, but there is a floor there that feels like it is a spot in the wing rotation, a spot on the roster as a forward, pretty much anywhere across the league that ends up getting their hands on him.
Yeah, he's able to process with the ball in hand. Obviously, there's going to be athletic questions. There's going to be defensive questions. How does he consistently create offense and stuff? But his passing and processing ability, I think, is quite unique. I'm going to slide over a little bit to his teammate Solo Ball. He's just a scorer. I mean, he showed last year at 42% shooting from three. He can make shots and knock it down. He's got some explosion to his game. I want to see him be a little bit more consistent from two. I want to see him kind of get into a little bit more multiple levels of the scoring aspect. But 14 a game last year, UConn's leading scorer. He's back this year. The team is better, I guess we can say. They upgraded across the board almost kind of with their lineup on paper. Eager to see how that streamlines his game, makes it a little bit more efficient, what he's able to do, how he's able to grow in that manner. But I think there could be a big season ahead for Solo Ball.
Yeah, I'm looking at one more guy on that roster. I'm looking at Terrace Reed. We know that he's got the athleticism. He's shown the ability to rebound. Can he put it all together? Can he become a rim runner? Can he become a solid screen setter? Can he add? Can he just keep improving on the defensive end? Work on just rounding out his game to become that kind of just plug and play center that you put out there with a point guard and you let him pick and roll all through the game. So like I'm not again. I think that his ceiling is an interesting conversation because of the difference in value that centers can have. But I'm really just interested to see, can he take his game to another level in general this year?
Not going to spend too much time on this one, but a fourth guy on that UConn team, Silas Demery. I'm eager to see if he's able to make kind of first year Tristan Newton type jump. Kind of getting into his game like that, big 6'5" guard. The guy I'm going to talk about is Big O over at Providence, Oswin Erhuman, 6'10", and just an unbelievable athlete. Just the explosion upon explosion and twitch. He's able to move. He's got unbelievable instinct. So defensively is really where his game is going to shine. You're going to see a lot of stuff, able to slide his feet, drop down, switch, protect the rim, do all that. He's a good area rebounder, strong hands, and he plays out of the dunker spot, providing vertical floor spacing. Very intrigued to see what the steps his game takes offensively. Is he able to add a little bit more to his game outside of rim running and playing out of the dunker spot? But there are some very, very unique athletic traits that Osmond has. I think playing with a guy like a Jason Edwards and kind of the pieces that they added, Kim English added to that Providence team, could open up a little bit more for him this year, year one to year two, the sophomore. But there are he checks some boxes at the highest level and is uniquely among the top of college basketball when it comes to that type of athletic burst, explosion, pop, fluidity, and all that. So I'm very interested to see the steps he takes year one to year two.
Yeah, that's an interesting name that was. I think I don't think he gets enough love for being, like you said, a big time athlete, a guy who is really solid in the middle. I think that it sometimes gets overshadowed by the front court at St. John's. Understandably, the big names that they have there. So let's head there because I'm interested. Of the three that we have there, Bryce Hopkins, we have Dylan Mitchell, and we have Zuby Ejiofor. I think that Dylan Mitchell is still probably the best NBA prospect, just based on the measurements, the ability to play that four. But the production and the shooting that you would like to see to be able to stretch the floor just hasn't been there in his career. And so I almost lean Zuby as the guy who I think maybe if he's just so good at what he does, could find that kind of niche role on a team at the end of the bench, fill in some minutes there.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see. I mean, you got three different players, kind of like we talked about earlier, on the Michigan front, completely different, from the Michigan thing. But there's three different guys there. Bryce Hopkins earlier in his career at Providence was on the pathway of just high level production. Injuries happened, and we're still kind of waiting to see what that looks like coming back 100% full. From injuries, you're looking at Dylan Mitchell. Now, again, we go back to the old. This is not a 1-to-1 comparison,
Yeah,
but seeing Colin Murray Boyles have success right now, as Jacob Hurdle got hurt, now he's getting into the lineup at Toronto, seeing what Colin Murray Boyles is able to do kind of in the Toronto lineup, that could give some hope for Dylan Mitchell kind of
yeah,
along the way. It also give him a North Star to kind of watch with his game. Now, Colin Murray Boyles was a very good passer and all that stuff. You could do some interesting things with him offensively. But kind of that lengthy defensive player, kind of a small ball five type of guy that you can plug and play into different defensive stuff. It'll be interesting to see if Dylan Mitchell is able to take an offensive step forward when it comes to processing, passing, and being able to run some stuff through as well. And Zuby, again, you just kind of know what you're going to get with him. I mean, he's a bruising guy down low. He's able to create space, create angles, create advantages on the block. Strong hands. He rebounds it well, has instincts and all that stuff. There's a high floor with Zuby. Ceiling might not be as high, but you kind of know what you're going to get with Zuby. And if you like that, he's going to be a good option.
yeah. That backcourt is interesting.
They also have the backcourt guys too, Joseph
Santa
and Ian Jackson.
Yeah. Ian Jackson, such an interesting player last year because you look at the raw stats and nothing was particularly out of place. He didn't shoot poorly from three. His points per game was in line. But when you watch the game, you knew that there was a lot left to be desired from not just him, but that whole UNC team, especially the young players. I'm interested to see because I viewed him last year as an off the ball guy, as a shooting guard, and obviously Rick Pitino wants him to play the point guard position. So that almost just kind of overhauls the scouting process with him. You've got to kind of look at him in a new way, or you have to say, all right, Rick Pitino is making him do these things, but what do we view that we can translate back to the two? Those are your two options there. So I'm just interested to see, how does this kind of play out? Does it rise his stock back to the level that it was before last year? Or does it take even more of a hit because we aren't seeing him in the role that people thought he was going to be in when they started scouting him?
The thing with Ian Jackson is there's this thing going around basketball Twitter a few years ago called you have basketball players and hoopers. Ian Jackson is a hooper. He's a guy you just roll the ball out, go make something happen, and he's able to create some opportunities with improvising and his ability to play. My thing with him is pace, kind of slowing things down a little bit, being able to survey the floor a little bit better. But also, kind of, it's not feel. He's got solid feel. The processing aspect of the game, seeing the entirety of the floor, and processing the play ahead, which puts his team into the best advantage. I think our next steps for him are, I'm curious to see kind of how that looks if he's playing a more on the ball role this year for St. John's, how that looks for him.
Yep.
But as for somebody at 6'5" who's able to just to go make a play, he's absolutely able just to get the ball in his hands and go make something happen. And that's a unique trait for somebody to have. And I think that's what's kind of really put him on the map even earlier in his career. Now it's about kind of honing that in and streamlining that into kind of more efficient outlooks for the team advantage.
Yeah, and then that's one of the when you I think you nail it there with the hooper versus basketball player conversation, and it's this idea, right or wrong, because sometimes it's been proven that you can be a hooper and fit within a team construct. It just looks different. But that's going to be the problem he has to overcome is do people believe that his style of play will fit into what they want to do once he is no longer the number one option?
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Let's talk about his teammate too a little bit here, Josan Sanan. I was really fascinated by his game last year at Arizona State. Suffered the injury, and so we didn't get to see as much of it as I would have liked. I was kind of waiting for him to take that next step, that little leap, where you go from productive to efficient and productive. Didn't shoot terribly from the 3 point line, even with that said, 37%. If he can raise that a little bit, given what his game is, the ability to score, I think there's going to be some intrigue in what he's able to do.
Josan's game, even back to when we ranked him before he reclassed up and all that stuff in the high school level, you just really like his approach to scoring the basketball. Last year, he was asked to be a number one option in kind of a system that was in a little bit of disarray.
Yep.
It seems that this year there is more around him, and his identity is going to be a little bit more defined as to what it is. He's a good scorer. I mean, he's a two level scorer at least from three in the mid range. He's able to get into the two dribble pull up. He's able, 1-2 dribble pull up. He's able to catch and shoot. He can shoot off movement. He can get that going as well. It'll be all about finding his spots on the floor, finding it within the flow of his offense, and getting the balance points together within that flow. And I think there's some real upside. I think there's some real upside there when it comes to Sand and 6'4", long arms, and just an ability to score the ball. As you mentioned, if he's able to get the 3-point to 40%, shooting a little bit more off movement, a little bit more streamlined approach as to which shots he takes, I think he could open some eyes by the end of the year.
For sure. You got anyone else in this conference that you want to just bounce through real quick before we go to break here?
Yeah, I do. Creighton. Creighton's got three guys that I'm going to
Yes.
be watching this year to see if they take a step forward. I'm very, very fascinated with Josh Dix. I think he's got a chance to end up actually being, first team all league type guy.
Yeah.
There's some processing stuff, ball in hand, that he has there off on the ball, but also a career 40% shooter from three. One of the real shooting threats in college basketball going into this open system. I think he's going to have the ball in his hand a little bit more, able to make decisions and all that to expand his game. I could see him taking a real step NBA wise throughout this season, but also Blake Harper and Jackson McAndrew.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure who guys are this year guys, but I think that both of them, Blake being 6'7", ball in hand processor, the freshman year that he had at Howard this past year, eager to see how that translates to Creighton this year, but I can also see it being next year, him being just taking a massive step. I think he'll be on the radar at some point in time in his career over these next couple seasons. Jackson McAndrew, 6'10" guy who can really shoot the ball, put the ball on the floor a little bit. He has some athletic fluidity and all that. Had a good freshman year. Started a lot of the games for Creighton as a freshman. I think he's going to take a step forward this year. I think he's going to help. I think the percentage is going to go up a little bit. I think his ability to what he's able to show is going to go up a little bit too. So I think Jackson McAndrew, someone I can also see taking a step forward into those conversations.
Yeah, I'll throw out one more just complete flyer. Like I'm talking, he's not on my board, but I can't stop watching Elijah Fisher every year, just trying to figure out is this maybe he turns into what we thought he was going to be this year? Is surely it's going to happen. That's but I'm always keeping up with is he having a little bit of a breakout here? Can we start to build the hype up again? We'll see if he can get that figured out this season.